Scaling your law firm doesn't have to be difficult. It's all about mastering a few key strategies, systems, and mindsets. Welcome to the Scalable Law Podcast, where we talk about how you can increase profit in your pocket and time in your calendar. My name is Carolee Fontanelli, and I have successfully scaled my firm so that it doesn't solely rely on me. Now I love teaching other law firm owners how to do the same. Let's transform your business starting now. Welcome back to another episode of the Scalable Law Podcast. I am your host, Carolee Fontanelli, and it is awesome to have you here. I'm recording in advance, so as you speak, I'm probably in the US, which is super exciting. I'm going over on a little holiday and heading to a few different spots, California and Nevada, so going to Las Vegas, and then I'm heading up to New York. So it's going to be really fun. It's super hot over there at the moment, so that will be a change of pace because it is quite cold here, being winter right now. Anyway, we are going to be continuing on with our podcast from last week. So if you have not listened to last week's podcast, you can go back and do that, but it's not 100% necessary to do so. You might just enjoy this topic as a standalone. But basically what we have been talking about are the fears that you have when you have a remote team or you're creating a remote team. And it can feel like you don't have the same sort of level of control over the team because you're not in the same office. But the reality is that in today's world, with the way that we are now, is that we can benefit from the massive advantages of creating a remote legal team and having employees in their own environments. I know for me, it has certainly been a change since COVID, because prior to that, we were all in the office. But there are a lot of benefits if you can make it work for your law firm. And some of those benefits are costs. It's a lot less expensive. The benefits are you can create flexibility with your team. They don't have to sit in traffic to get to work. It can also create the benefit of having flexibility. Sometimes you're at home, sometimes you're in the office, and it is nice, I find personally, to have that contrast. So how do we make it work for our firms? And we started out talking about some of the fears and problems that we have as law firm owners around remote teams. The first one we talked about was ensuring that there's an excellent level of security from data breaches and confidentiality issues in your law firm. So that's last week's podcast, so go back and have a listen to that. This week we are talking about, as a law firm owner, that anxiety that you have about team productivity and accountability. And then next week we are talking about the stress that you have when it comes to maintaining client relationships and your law firm's reputation. Now, the other thing to note is that these issues arise whether you are remote or not. So all of these podcasts are definitely relevant whether you're in a remote situation or whether you actually have an office and an in-house team. So today, let's get stuck in and talk about the anxiety that we have as law firm owners about team productivity and accountability and how we can overcome these so that you can enjoy the flexibility that remote law firm teams offers. So if you implement the strategies that we're going to discuss, so I've got 8 strategies for you, you are going to be able to create an environment where your remote team is productive, accountable, they're engaged, and it is going to reduce the anxiety in you as a law firm owner and help you to build trust in your team's capabilities. So get your pen and papers ready because we have got 8 very practical solutions for you that are going to help you to create a really positive environment for your team when it comes to productivity and accountability. So let's get stuck into it. So number one is to have clear communication around your expectations for your team. Now, I know that some of you do struggle with this, and what I will say is what you need to do is start out as you means to carry on. It is always better than to start doing things retrospectively. However, if you have not had clear communication and set up your expectations around what you expect from your team members, in-house or remote, it is now the time to do that. So get started now and then continue as you move forward. So the first thing you need to be doing and talking about with them is setting clear goals and KPIs. So define specific and measurable goals and outcomes for each team member, not only around billables. And I know some of you are fixed fees. So when I talk about billables, I talk about money in general, not only around fees, but also around other targets, such as completion of documents, completion of filing, completion of files, client reviews, getting positive reviews in, how many initial calls or appointments are they doing, what conversion rates there are, and what the expectation is around that. So there's lots of things when it comes to setting those clear goals around work. You can also set goals around how they're communicating with clients and all of that sort of thing. So be really clear and communicate your expectations with them. Part of that is to create clear position descriptions, hopefully before they start their role. But if not, it's not too late to implement clear position descriptions. This is something then that you can rely on, and it makes it very clear what the role is that they have agreed to come and work for you to do, and if they're meeting those expectations or not. And then next up, when it comes to clear communication and expectations, once you set all of that up, make sure you do regular check-ins with the team to see how they are progressing. And then you can also, in those meetings, address any concerns and provide feedback. You're so much better doing the regular check-ins than being reactive and reacting down the track. So keep that in mind. Number two is in your team, whether they are remote or whether they are not remote, to foster a results-orientated culture in your firm. So focus on outcomes when it comes to what you're trying to achieve for clients. Remember that we're in the service-based business. I know we're law firms, but we serve people. And it's really important that we continue to remind our team of this, and we create results around what we are doing. So in all law firms, we are here to serve our clients and to bring them a result, whether it's to help them negotiate something or to create a solid document for them that is going to protect them in the future, or make an application for them, or whatever it might be. It's about giving our clients results. So keep that in mind when we are communicating with our team members. And you also want to create autonomy and create trust in your teams by giving them tasks to manage and allow them to demonstrate that they can be trusted and that they have the ability to deliver. This is so important. No one likes to be micromanaged, even from afar. Number three is to do the regular performance review. So we've already talked about having clear communication and expectations and then doing regular check-ins. So it's kind of just circling back there. But, put them in the calendar either monthly or quarterly and conduct regular performance reviews, really to assess your team members' productivity and to provide constructive feedback. And then you can also set new goals with them. And then again, it's just giving that continuous feedback and encouraging a culture of feedback rather than waiting for problems and things to go wrong, where you then have to step in and be reactive rather than proactive. Number four, when it comes to ensuring that your team is productive and they remain accountable, is to encourage accountability in the team. So allow your team members ownership of their tasks and projects within the firm, and be specific with who is in charge of those things. It's really important because it really helps to allow your team members to elevate. And this is a good thing because then you don't have to do all the work yourself. So it is great to encourage accountability and ownership within the team. Next up, this is something that is so important. Number 5, I cannot stress this enough. And I talk to so many law firm owners who do not have this in place. And that is a data strategy where you're using data and analytics to look at your team's performance and to keep them accountable. So the first thing to look at is really your performance metrics. So using data to track performance of the team members and also to identify any areas of improvement. You should be able to set a standard in terms of if you're running a team and you've got several solicitors, then you should start seeing some patterns as to what they can achieve in a month or in a week or in a work day. And then you can set some standards around that. So in my firm, we're only practicing in one practice area. And so I know how many files on a standard basis that a solicitor should be able to carry while maintaining billables and while not burning out. And so that's really important, right? And because we have the data on all of that, we're able to really track those analytics and track the performance of each individual solicitor. When we're looking at the data, we really can see patterns and we really can see when someone is not serving clients well or coping. And we're able to use data to help them to either improve and give training or to help them to be more productive. And it's certainly excellent as an accountability tool. The numbers do not lie. I keep telling my team this, and it's absolutely true. You can rely on the numbers. They tell you all sorts of things about your business and about your team's performance. And that's not only billable targets, but other numbers as well. So you can look at things like what is their conversion rate when they're doing initial appointments. For example, if you've got one team member who converts at, say, 20%, but another team member that converts at 80%, why is that? What is the reason? Do you need to give more training to that particular person so that they can improve their conversion rate? And then it allows you to look at things like, well, if you need more work in the door, you'd be wanting to send them to the lawyer who has a high conversion rate versus the one who has a low conversion rate so that you're getting work in. So when you're thinking about data and analytics, don't forget to use your reporting tools that you have that can really provide insight. So you'll find lots of really great reporting tools inside your practice management system. But what we do is we also use other ways of reporting and analyzing as well. So we only get some of our data from, for example, our practice management system. Other data we record ourselves, such as conversion rates, how many initial appointments, and all of that kind of thing that particular staff members are doing. So use that data to keep them accountable and on track. Next up, it's really important that you do invest in training and development for your team members when it comes to accountability and productivity. Now, this isn't just investing in training so that they can tick the CPD box. So we're talking more about teaching them skills like sales calls, how to do an initial appointment and ensure that they convert the client, for example, how to time record properly and create really good habits around time recording. You know, we've found that in managing lots of different lawyers, they record differently, they have different habits. Some don't record as they go, they record at the end of the day. And I have found that when lawyers record their time or their fees as at the end of the day, that it's not going to be accurate and they're going to miss billable work that they have done. So make sure that you train your team and invest time in your team. It will be a massive help. Also, when it comes to accountability and productivity, train them on your expectations and create procedures around, how they're to communicate with clients and how regularly should that communication be and when should they be getting back to clients, things like that. And of course, when you are serving the client, there is a higher production of the service that we're doing. It goes hand in hand. So make sure you train your team on all of your expectations around how they run their files. Number 7 is to build a strong team culture. So when you're building a virtual team, it can feel that everyone is distant and it makes it more difficult. You can create a strong team culture through having team meetings regularly, through having leaders that they report to in your firm, through having team retreats. So we have a team that is based in the Philippines, and recently my practice manager and I went over to the Philippines and spent 2 days with the team over there. It was really, really awesome, and it definitely strengthened the bonds and improved morale within the team. In my law practice, we also have recognition and rewards. We do a team meeting once a month where we spin the wheel and someone gets some prizes for meeting some of their KPIs, not always billable or fee earning targets, but other things in the firm as well. And that helps with building a really great, fun team culture where everyone is supporting each other and acknowledging everyone's wins. Number 8, and the final one, is to make sure that you have a really great productivity tool or tools. And of course, in law, we're lucky because we have an array of amazing practice software that we can rely on that often has time tracking. And so we don't need to spend money on extra tools like that. Make sure that when you are choosing your practice management system that you have automated options so that when working on matters, it will automatically track time. And these sorts of things are just getting better and better as technology goes. It is important that you have a document management system such as Clio, for example, where all of your management processes are all in one place and matters are not spread anywhere over people's computers or anything like that. I do know of law firms who are still not using practice management software, and honestly, it's really important that we do take care of our files and in a way that is really efficient and effective so that we can create more workflow and ease for our teams. So if you implement all of these strategies, you will definitely improve in terms of productivity and accountability. It's having conversations with your team members, setting those targets, but making sure that you do check the targets and have discussions with your team members about their productivity and targets. I will do a quick recap for you because I know this has been a long podcast and you might have a pen ready now. So the first one, in order to keep your team productive and accountable, is to have clear communication and expectations around what you expect. And I think one of the things here that I have found when I'm speaking with law firm owners is sometimes the law firm owner doesn't have clarity around those goals themselves. So if you don't have clarity around those goals, do some figures and work out what that looks like for your team. Number 2, foster a results-orientated culture. We are here as law firm owners to solve problems and we want it to be results driven. So implement that culture into your team. Number 3, have regular performance reviews so that your team stays on top of everything. Number 4, encourage accountability and ownership within your teams. Number 5, ensure that you use data and analytics. Know your numbers between the whole firm, but also between different lawyers and your firm as well. Number 6, invest in training and development. So we want to develop our team and we want them to be better in these soft skill areas like billing and selling and all these other things that aren't necessarily delivering legal advice. Number 7 is to build a strong team culture. Even if you are a virtual team, you can absolutely do that. And number 8 is to implement and use productivity tools so that you are easily able to time track and record your fees, that you have all your client management in one system and it's easy and efficient. So I hope that has helped today with alleviating your anxiety about team productivity and accountability. If you put some of this in place, I guarantee it's going to up-level the firm, not only in revenue and profit, but also with the performance of your team, which is so important. You're going to create an environment where your remote teams are productive, accountable, and engaged, and definitely reduce anxiety in yourself while building trust around your team's capabilities. I hope today has been super helpful for you. I've loved delivering this topic. I really, really enjoy it. And next week, we are going to be talking about stress around maintaining client relationships and your firm's reputation when you hand files over to another lawyer in your firm, and particularly remote team members. All right, we will see you then. Until then, bye for now. Thank you for listening to the Scalable Law Podcast, brought to you by the Scalable Business Lounge. If you would love to know how you can get more clients without relying on referrals, head over to scalablelaw.com to watch my free masterclass. Until next time, you have got this.